now. We are just getting our third and final conversation for this morning started, and we are talking all about adult and continuing education, which is a program for adults to complete their high school education. And here to join us for this conversation, we have Manuel Bautista, who is the chairperson of the Adult and Continuing Education Program. We also have Paulette Augustus, who is the principal of the Gwen-Lizarraga Evening School Division. And we also have Lourdes Escobar, who is a student at the Gwen-Liz Evening School Division. So good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yes.
And,
good morning, Good morning, Marlene. Good morning, Gavin. I'd like to say good morning to Paulette and to Lourdes.
Good morning, Mr. Bao.
All right.
And good morning, viewers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love this excited team that we have here to tell us all about adult continuing education.
Yep. So, Manuel, why don't you get us started and tell all of our viewers what the program is all about?
Okay, thank you very much, Gavin. But before I do that, I would like to, since I have this opportunity, I would like to congratulate Marlene on her promotion. So, Marlene, congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. Yes, we have presently 10 adult and continuing education institutions throughout the nation. Ms. Paulette and mine are 2 of those 10. And so we intend to tell you this morning about our institutions and what we offer.
Yeah.
The 10 institutions have gotten together over the past 2 years, and we have formed the Association of ACE Directors of Belize. And so we are now, rather than working individually like before, we are now working together as one unit, one body, to meet the needs of our adults when it comes to education. Yes, Marlene? Sorry.
I was going to say, you fill such an important gap in being able to recognize that there are adults who at some point may decide, if they didn't finish high school, that they want to go back and complete it. I remember in Belize City when there was the evening division of school, it used to be next to Channel 5. It was one of the most bustling places in the city. Since then, since it closed down, there have been a few schools that have taken up the mantle. Tell us a bit about sustaining adult continuing education institutions. What's the challenge there?
Well, the challenge there for us is funding usually, right?
Yeah.
I find for the majority of our institutions, that's the first thing that they say, funding. And secondly, it's resources and the tools that our students may need to be able to gain the quality education we want to offer. All right, so those are challenges, but we, so far from checking with the other institutions, we are doing quite a lot with very little. And I'm happy for that. Paulette, you'd like to add anything to that?
Hi, morning.
Yes.
Again. To add to what Mr. Bao has been saying, yes, we have had our challenges in terms of finances, of course, and especially since with the onset of the pandemic, we have been experiencing a little bit more, but we have had to be more flexible and more empathetic and understanding of our students, of our adult learners as well. So that is one of the greatest challenges. And then, of course, life circumstances and all of that have caused some of our learners to not be consistent to the extent that we would like it to. So those are some of the challenges, two of the main challenges that we have experienced as an ACE institution.
Yeah. So you said that there are 10 institutions across the country. Tell us where they are.
We have
Okay,
one,
the-
basically we have one in each district.
Okay.
We have Orange Walk, which is for Mr. Bautista, San Juan Bautista. We have Corozal Evening Division. We have Gwenlis Evening Division in Belize City. We have Claver College in Punta Gorda. We have Eden High School in the Kaya district.
Yeah.
And we have, help me out here, Mr. Bow. I'm missing, San Pedro High School in San Pedro, of course.
Yeah.
So those are some of our
Okay.
institutions that we have.
If I could just go over that, Marlene, quickly. In Belmopan, we have one, the Baptist East High School.
Yeah.
In Orange Walk, we have one, that's the one that I am concerned with. In Stan Creek, we have the Ecumenical. In Cayo, we have St. Ignatius. In Belize City, we have Gwen Lizarado. That's the one that Paulette is concerned with. In Toledo, we have Clavers College. In San Pedro, we have San Pedro High School East. In Corozal, again, we have Escuela Mexico. In Independence, we also have one. And in Corozal, we have the Corozal Community College East section.
Okay.
So those are the institutions, Marlene.
I can only imagine the stories that you must hear firsthand from people who go back to school as adults. And that's part of what I want to get from you. From the students who do take the opportunity to complete their education at one of these ACE institutions, what tends to be the catalyst? And let's get Lourdes to answer this one. What tends to be the catalyst that makes them finally make that jump?
Good morning again, everyone.
Good morning.
What makes someone decide to go back to school?
Yeah.
I believe there are many reasons behind it, not just one, there are many. But one of the main reasons is in your workplace. You want to be more productive and more efficient. And then for your family, you want to, sometimes we tell our kids to go to school and get that higher education, but then we fall behind. And in the world we live in today, we need to, I would say, lead more by example.
Yes.
And because some of them just take it for granted that, you can get whatever you want, I guess, without hard work. And so it's maybe as a role model. And in my case, there were many, but the main reason was, my main reason was self-accomplishment. I wanted to be able to make sound decisions whenever I have to out there. And I know that going back to schools, I would learn certain skills, or I would enhance certain skills that I have already had.
Yeah. What class are you in at this point?
I'm in my final year. I started in first year, which is basically 3 years.
Wow. What does that feel like, Lourdes?
It kind of feels good because going to school is not just books. We had several recreation activities like family night. We have females retreat and males retreat, so it's not only books, but when it came to the book part, it could be overwhelming. We basically need the support of our family. In my case, I had the support of my employer, and my cheerleaders were my friends. My friends, they pushed me through a lot.
Yeah. Now, there's so many reasons why people don't complete their education. From the outside, people make assumptions and think, oh, they must drop out of school. But sometimes it's money. Sometimes it's a lot of other things that can happen. And, they continue into adulthood, they try to get jobs, and they just think, if only I'd finished school. What do you say to those people who are watching right now thinking, maybe I should go back, but they're scared, they feel like they can't keep up with the work, they maybe think they can't afford it, or they're not going to remember some of the things they learned when they were younger?
In my experience, I was out of school for more than 20 years. And like you said, there's so many reasons why people didn't get to go to school, and people make assumptions. And again, just my personal story, I was never given the opportunity. I didn't have the opportunity to go to high school, any at all. And so I knew that it's something I wanted to do. And when I did decide to go, I realized, okay, I need a plan. And so my plan was basically organization, prioritization, and focusing on my daily goals, and realizing that it was a long-term benefit that I would get from it, rather than focusing on the short-term inconveniences that I was going through at the moment, So I believe that if anyone wants to go, you need to give it a try and just organize your day. Like I believe in my case that worked for me, and I gave up some things. You have to make sacrifices, and some of those sacrifices for me was my recreational time, because with work and going to school, I basically didn't have time to watch TV. I didn't have time to watch a movie. I didn't have time to go with my friends because I always had my responsibilities.
And Manuel, why don't you talk a little bit about what it is like to work with the students who choose, and perhaps some of the feedback you hear from those who are in the program?
Okay, if I may, thanks, Gavin. If I may, I would like to just point out something here so that you get an idea of the type of students we are really dealing with these institutions. I think at an earlier interview Marlene had with the Minister of Education, he pointed out that at the ministry, they look after the preschool, the primary school, the secondary school, and the tertiary. All those are regarded as the formal sector of the ministry, or the youth education sector. All right. However, there is another sector that exists, which is the adult education sector. And that adult education sector comes from the adult population in our country. What led me to get into this service is because once I heard, I think it was from a former Minister of Education, that the statistics department in Ministry of Education had pointed out that they were looking at those students that enter primary school and those that drop out. And it seemed as though at that time, 50% of the number of students that enter primary school, right, would remain in school to go on to the secondary level, and 50% would drop out. And at the secondary level, it noticed that that same percent continued. 50% would continue on to the tertiary, and 50% would fall out. Well, let's look at the numbers there. If 50% falls out in the primary section, and you have another 50% fall out in the secondary, so that tells me that there are 75% of the students who begin primary school, about 75% fall out of the system. Maybe from that time to now that has decreased, but even if it has decreased to 30%, that's quite a number we're talking about. We're talking about tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. So these students that drop out the system join the already existing adult population that had fallen out too as well. And so this population is really large.
Yeah.
And we have seen the effects of having a system like that in going on. Yeah. This pandemic has shown, look at the pantry. How many people need that pantry? How many people needed money to be able to survive? And the previous government and this government has said it's unsustainable. Yeah. We cannot continue like that. Well, then we have to fix our system so that we make sure that our adult population in this nation is educated, and that they have the knowledge and they have the skills to be able to become employed. Yeah. Right? And those that are employed, sorry, hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, yes. And so those that are unemployed, we need to get them to be employable. And that is where institutions like ours come in, right? And that is what I think Lourdes was alluding to as well, and the students that I have at my institution.
So,
right? So what we want, what we do is we provide the knowledge and the skills for them to become employable. And those that came out, because they were limited in their skills and knowledge, some of them probably remain unemployed. Some got jobs, but these are jobs that really the money they make is just from hand to mouth, we say, right?
Yeah,
They
their
don't
job
have much money
options
to
tend
do.
to be limited in situations like that. Let me get Paulette in for a second. I want to, So Paulette, why don't you tell us, I mean, I can only imagine that for the students, it is a very transformational process to go from not completing school and then completing at the ACE institution. In your case, it would be the Gwenliz evening school. Tell us a bit about the difference you see in your students from when they first enter to when they graduate. Is she still with us, Paulette?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
What happened, we have noticed that they come in the same way as I think when students go to regular high school. And although they're adults, they still come in nervous, expecting, scared, and all of that. And then you see them progress as the time goes by, as the weeks goes by, as the months goes by, and eventually you see the changes from first year to second year to third year, and they become such prominent and confident students, you know, and they're so receptive of what it is and committed and dedicated to their learning. And you literally see how it is that they have evolved from that young person that came in, whatever age it is that they came in at, but you still see them evolve from that timid person to that confident student, that confident learner who knows what their goals are and what it is that they have set for themselves upon application, from the time of application to the evening division until it is that they have graduated from the institution. And because of that, we have seen so many of them have a step up in their career. So many of them have gone on to tertiary institutions and graduated successfully. So it does make them feel proud, and it even makes us as the educators feel even more proud of their accomplishments and seeing them coming and dedicating and committing to getting that education, and then to where it is that they now are 5 years later, 10 years later.
You must have
what the
some
ACE institution has done.
Yeah, you must have some of the most inspirational graduation ceremonies, because there's a big difference between a teen who goes to high school because, you know, we're supposed to, and an adult that makes a choice to go back.
It is.
Yeah.
It very much is, you know, and we often find ourselves crying, you know, and then getting those goosebumps. You hear people talk about goosebumps, but it gives you that sense of, wow. You know, as you said, it's a big difference from the regular high school students who are told, you know, you need to complete school, and then seeing an adult graduating and knowing that they have made that decision, they have made that commitment to be on that stage. And that's why for us, it's important for us to have graduation, you know, because that's a sense of accomplishment for them, a little bit of self-actualization for them. Yeah. So it's important that we be there and be, you know, be in that moment with them. And we often find ourselves crying at every graduation.
Yeah, yeah. Same for you, Manuel?
Yes, it's the same for me. We find that every year at graduation, you have the valedictorian would break down, or some parents would break down as well, and they cry. But they cry out of joy, right? Because of that great accomplishment they made. They realize that after all the sacrifices they made, they have accomplished something, right? So, but we are also interested too, Marlene, in having our students, since they're adults, becoming employers, not only employees. So we train them at San Juan Bautista High School. We offer a business program,
Oh, good.
and in that business program, that is where they are trained to become business oriented and employers.
Yeah.
Our graduation rate is like 95 to 100%. And this is mainly due to the fact that we maintain a healthy student-teacher ratio of 15 students to one teacher. That is the average.
What's the
All
average
right. We also
age?
must
What's the average age of the students? I'm sorry to interrupt there. There's a delay.
the average age is around 24 to 26, something like that.
Okay.
The average age. Right.
Is that
But
the same
we
at
have
Gwen?
students.
Sorry. Is that the same at Gwen Liz Paulette? What's your average age?
Our average age is, we start a little bit younger because then we're allowed to start students at the age of 16 years.
Okay.
And we have had graduates who have graduated at the age of 61.
Wow. That's
So,
amazing.
Yes.
It is. It's
Right.
it is.
So
And
Lourdes, you are looking forward to graduation day.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I want to reach there.
Yeah. What will that mean for you
Yeah.
and your family that day when it comes and you will, be able to say that you collect your diploma?
I guess that's what I will. I guess that's what I would put in their plate the days they couldn't have food.
Yeah.
They're just fun. I had big support from them, from my husband, from my kids, and they're all excited and waiting for that day because they see the work we put in, they see the sacrifices we have to make. But I'd like to add something to that. I'd like to say that the teachers, the educators at Gwen Lizarraga High School Evening Division are very understanding and extremely supportive. Sometimes as adults you want to give in, you want, at least for me, I reached that point once last year and I didn't hand in my assignments as I normally do. And my teacher was like, Lourdes, what's happening to you? And then I explained to him, what was going on. And mainly it was due to the pandemic and the change of platform in the way we were now learning. And he was so supportive and he gave much advice and, he just pushed us. So the teachers there are very, very supportive and extremely understanding. So anyone who is thinking, should I go? I would say go for it. Go for it. You have nothing to lose.
All right. Well, we appreciate you
Yes.
all telling us about the work that you're doing. How do people find out where the nearest adult continuing education program is and how they can enroll?
Well, I would say, depending on where you live, there's one in each district. And most of us are on Facebook. So because as we said, the pandemic has caused us to evolve so much. So there's one in each district. You can find us in Facebook. Most of our compounds are located at the high school compound. Our offices, are located on the high school compound, so they could contact us, come to our office. They can call us. For us, you could come to the Gwen Liz compound, and you will find our evening division office there. You can email us, you can WhatsApp us, you can Facebook Messenger us. So we're available at every social media, and so they can get in contact with us. We can email those application forms out and come. I encourage each and every adult who have missed this opportunity to get that high school education to come back. When this evening division and all the other 8 institutions exist for that purpose, for that specific purpose. And we have been in existence for more than 10 years, and we have graduated so many adult learners, and they can give their testimonies, and you can see that it will not be a waste of your time. So I encourage any adult who have not had that opportunity to come, visit our office, and get an application, and come to Gwen Liz Evening Division and all the other 8 institutions.
All right. Well, it has been a pleasure
And-
talking to all
Hello?
of you. Yes, Manuel?
Marlene, I could just say one thing here before we end. First of all, we look at the quality of work for our students or graduates. and we have graduated quite a number too. We have been in this business for it's now 20 years, right? So we have a lot of graduates out there, and to check my quality, I track the graduates, and that gives me a good measure of the value we add to our students.
Yes.
And we have had several success stories, right? I just wanted to mention just 3 of them. A past graduate who is presently an owner-manager of an office cleaning service in Tennessee, USA. I've heard from her recently. Another graduate upon graduation received a Mexican scholarship to study architecture at the Universidad de Cuernavaca and the Universidad de Monterrey, has recently successfully completed his degree as well. He's now an architect. Another graduate who upon graduation also received a Mexican scholarship to study at the Instituto Tecno in Chetumal, and he is now a junior electrical engineer at BTL. And there are many more success stories. So I encourage those young adults that would like to complete their high school education to get over that fear. Stop looking back in the past at what you could have done and what you didn't do and so on. You got to stop that, because that feeds your fear and that prevents you from wanting to move forward. So you need to forget about the past, turn over a new page and come to one of our institutions. We are now accepting presently online application and in-person applications for the 2021-22 school year. The application form is on our Facebook page, San Juan Bautista High School Orange Walk. One can find answers to frequently asked questions there as well.
Okay.
Our
Great.
phone number is 635-3150 if they need to contact us.
All right. Thank you so much, Manuel. Thank you, Paulette and Lourdes. Best of luck. You're going to get there. And we hope to see those graduation pictures as well. You guys take care, and thank you for the great work that you do.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thank you for having us, Marlene and Gavin.
All right.
Thanks a million.
And with
Have
that,
a great day.
and you too. And with that, we're going to go ahead and take that final break, and we'll be back in a few. Stay tuned.